home. But we're going to turn our attention to something that's been going on the Mississippi Gulf Coast for more than 20 years, and I think it's pretty darn cool. It's the Chevron Pascagoula Refinery and its Black Employee Network have been sponsoring the Deborah Washington Magnolia State Race. It's a derby race, and it's been going on for 2 decades and for good reason. So we have them on to share a little more. Hey, guys.
Hey, good afternoon, Rebecca. It's just Susan today. Reggie wasn't able to make it with me today.
That is no problem. It's still a good topic. I have thoroughly enjoyed looking through the photos of all the bright-eyed kids who look like they are geared up and ready to race their little derby cars, or I guess carts. Maybe you have another name for them. And I didn't know that we had a derby race in Mississippi. So this is so cool to me. So Susan, take me back 20 years, or take us back 20 years. When did this derby race get started?
Well, the soapbox derby started in 1992. There was an employee of Chevron, Deborah Washington, who went to her bosses and to Black Employee Network and said, I'd like to sponsor this race. And it was designed for underprivileged children and a way for children to work with either families or a mentor to build a car and have a race. And so it started in 1992 with one division. That was the stock division. And a stock car is a small car and generally can race a child somewhere between the ages of 7 and 10. And so that's where it started. And I can tell you that today we have 4 different divisions that we race, and we race children from the ages of 7 to 21.
That's crazy. And it grew. How many do y'all normally cap out at every year with the soapbox? With the derby, we try
to keep it. So we generally the stock division is our biggest division, and we've had as many as 24 racing in that division. The super stock is our next biggest division, and we've had as many as 18 to 24 in that division. The master car, we really have a hard time getting master cars because they're the newest and the most expensive cars, and so as long as we can get the minimum number, which is 6. That's what we race with. And then we also have a super kid division, and we try to get 8 super kids each year.
So let's talk this through, because in my limited knowledge, I've never seen a soapbox derby in person, Susan. It looks like a lot of fun. I'm going to the movies, to Little Rascals. That's about all I can pull
exactly.
up as reference to what a soapbox derby looks like or how it kind of it goes down. So take us to race day. I mean, and I guess in the largest division, the first division, which is the stock car. I mean, do they line up? How does it work? How does race day go down?
Well, it's very much not like the Little Rascals, because I know exactly what you're looking at. These cars, each of the cars is a kit now. The actual soapbox derby started. Oh gosh, I wish I could go back to look at that, but it goes under the All-American Soapbox Derby, and it originated in Akron, Ohio, and they did have those cars like you see on the Little Rascals, or oil can cars is what they had way back in the day. Well, to make the playing field more even, you now have to purchase a kit from All-American Soapbox Derby, and you build the kit. And so the kit has a fiberglass, either a plastic or a fiberglass lid. That's your car, and then you have a wooden floorboard that's your base, and then you put the wheels on and the whole thing. And so, like I said, it's very competitive, mostly with the parents because they're the ones that are working with it. And you have to, like the car and the car has to weigh. The car and the driver together can't weigh more than a certain amount. And of course, these cars are driven by the gravity of just pulling, going down the hill. And so it's all about the placement of your weight and the weight of the car. If you have a small child, you want to put as much weight in it as you can to get it up to where it needs to be. If you have a big child, then you want to take the weight out. So the day one, but the first thing we do is we weigh the cars. They go through a full inspection. We weigh them. We tell them what to do. We tell them what to fix. And it's tough. We start our morning usually at 5:30 in the morning. We close Main Street and we set the ramps up, because down here on the Gulf Coast we are pretty flat. Mm-hmm. We don't have a really good hill to race on, so we have ramps that give us that extra push. and to get us to the finish line.
So what is the track route? How long is the route? How long are the kids racing their soapboxes?
It's not very long. I mean, it goes from the top of the hill, which is it's probably an eighth of a mile, maybe. But it's what they call a driver's course, because it's not just a straight shot. You actually have to use your steering wheel and steer, and two cars go down at the same time. And to make it even, they go down one time, and then they swap lanes and they go down again. And the winner of the heat is the closest time difference of the two races.
And then what's like the average time? I mean, how long are they steering their vehicles or their cars?
I mean, these can come down in 15 seconds, and then sometimes the difference in the two cars is 0.00009. I mean, that's how close they come down. And so we have a electronic timer so that we know. Back when they first started, they just had guys sitting at the racing line, at the finish line, eyeing who won. But it's become very, very competitive, and we now have everything electronic.
I can see those photo finishes are probably,
yes.
A lot of bragging rights, I'm sure, that families have over the last 20 years of the Soapbox Derby, Susan. But do the kids who win, I mean, do they walk away with anything else other than the obviously experience, bragging rights, and how cool is this to get to do anyway?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Moss Point is a sanctioned city for the national race in Akron, Ohio. And so the winner from each of our divisions is sent to Akron, Ohio for race week in July. And they race with children from all over, not just the country, but the world. It's an international race. And we send them up there for a week, and they get to race there. And then there, it's 3 lanes going down at the same time. It's a tremendous hill up there. So it is a very big deal for the kids to win, and through the support of Chevron, each winning family gets a chunk of change to travel with. And that's changed over the years because of the cost of everything going up. Because, like I said, we started this in 1992. We took 1 year off when Deborah Washington passed away to breast cancer, and then went right back at it, and we renamed it the Magnolia State Race to the Deborah Washington Memorial Soapbox Derby.
Which I think is a wonderful thing, and to pay honor for her, because obviously she had the idea, and then now it's grown into what it is 2 decades later. So if there's
her mom and her son, her whole family come every year and support the race, but they'll buy cars and put them in. For instance, every time a car wins, it's retired. You can't race it again.
Really?
It's retired. And these cars their cost is anywhere from $500 to $900, and they're retired, so they don't race again. So each year we have to replenish cars.
Well, that's pretty interesting. And if someone's listening and they want to, get involved or come see it, I know it's in April, but y'all still have the opportunity for a few more kids to sign up and race. How do we do that?
We do have a few more cars. We have a little stockpile of what we call as loaner cars, and it's a great way to get people involved and interested. And then the next year we encourage them to buy their own car and get sponsorships. But the best way to do it would be to go to our Facebook page, and there's a Deborah Washington Memorial Soapbox Derby Facebook page. There's a registration link on there. That's the best place to go, other than just giving a phone number and having them call us or an email. But I would go there. And I do want to say one more thing. We have
Deborah, will you stick with us? Deborah, I'm going to let you stick with us. We're going to continue more. I mean, not Deborah, excuse me, Susan, with the Deborah Washington Memorial Soapbox Derby coming up next here on Good Things. Everything you need to know about this year's Deborah Washington Memorial Soapbox Derby is being shared with you today here on Good Things. Joining us to tell a little more is Miss Susan, and I didn't want to stop you, Miss Susan, earlier, and I wanted you to be able to share all the recognition and goodness that the Derby has brought to Mississippi. But first, we have a text on our C-Spire text line from William in Cortland that says, by comparison, a regular sedan car might take 12 seconds to cover an eighth of a mile, and your Derby racers, or I guess our Derby racers, are doing it in about 15 seconds, all thanks to gravity and engineering and all the things. That's pretty cool.
Yes, it is. It is pretty cool, and it's all about the weights, and it's about the wheels, and it's about the The spindles have to be, just right. It's amazing the type of work that goes into them if you really want them to be competitive. And once they win, so they win here in Moss Point, we ship the cars to Akron, and up there they go through another inspection after they get there, and then you find out once you get to Akron whether you have to make other alterations to your cars or yours is still good to go. As soon as these cars win, we have to take pictures of both sides, the top, the bottom, and all parts of it so that we send them directly up there, because they can disqualify a car if it's not perfect. I mean, if it has something illegal on it. So it is very, very competitive.
I'm curious, Miss Susan, what would be something that would be illegal in the inspection? Obviously, a motor. You can't have that, right?
Well, yeah, obviously that. But the floorboards are wood. They're wooden, and we have people who, if you sand them off just right, they give you a little more push, and they will measure those and make sure. And if they're sanded off too much, or we have people put tung oil on the bottoms of them, almost to the point of them being decoupaged, if you will. And I've had one race family go up there and have to totally get a brand new floorboard and rebuild the bottom part of the car. And I've had families go up there and they've been told that the shell is illegal because of MacTac being put on it, and it's been illegal. So, and then what you want to do is you want to get a VIP so that you get to go up there and not have to do anything on your cars.
Yes, that would be nice. This is crazy to me. I mean, I know we're talking about 7 to 12-year-olds, right, in the Derby, the Soapbox Derby, and but when anything that comes down to hundredths of a second from being first place, or last, obviously people's heightens and emotions. I would say that over the last 20 years, though, Miss Susan, y'all probably this is a family thing on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. I mean, have parents and then children done this, and sort of you see generations supporting the Derby?
Mm-hmm. Yes. And I was going to say, my family was the National Soapbox Derby Family of the Year. So we were treated to a trip to Akron, Ohio, after Hurricane Katrina, and our story with our cars having been in the water. And so it was a really cool thing for us to get to go, and we were able to meet Jimmy Johnson, the race car driver. NASCAR was sponsoring it that year. And so we've also won local race city, but it is very competitive. And for instance, if you live in Jackson, Mississippi, the closest place you can race is in Moss Point. But we're the closest. I'm just looking at the list. There's none in Alabama, and the closest master race to Texas, to Houston, is Moss Point. So you have to race in the local city closest to where you live and in the division that you're racing. And then, but there's also, I could go on for days, and you don't want me to do that.
No, I think it's very interesting, obviously.
Well, I mean, because there's a whole rally track. I mean, there's rally races all over the place, and you can go as a local winner, or you can go to Akron as a rally race winner, and you earn enough points to go up there. So it's a huge event, and it's been going on since 1934.
So tell us about the event there in Moss Point, because obviously everyone listening to Good Things is probably not going to be able to come or have children that age. But I feel like, does Moss Point just, in April when the main event comes, are they rallying around all the kids? I mean, does it become like a big community event to come watch the Derby?
It does, and as long as it's been going on, it does. When my son was a baby, a toddler, my husband and I took him up, and we sat on Main Street and watched the races. It was a great time. We enjoyed it. My son didn't start racing until he was 10, and so we raced from the time he was 10 until he could no longer fit in his car. And that's the way it's been done. And I'll tell you, the people who are in the Derby, who volunteer with the Derby, all of us have children who are now adults, and now we're starting over with the next generation of racers with grandchildren. And so it's exciting to see it, but we're all still committed to it, even without a racer in it. We all got started when our kids were little, and one of the gentlemen has been there since the very first race. And so it is something that we're like a family. We come together and we work and we have a good time. The Super Kid division was started by Chevron as well, but under the insistence of one of our volunteers, Dr. Donald, that race is for handicapped children. And those cars are suited for two people. One is one of our drivers that's one of our experienced drivers, and one is a handicapped child. They think they're driving, but they're not. And it is that's the most fun part, to watch those children come down squealing and laughing and playing and having just a great time. So the Super Kid race has given it a whole different feel.
I can imagine. Man, this is just so many good stuff going on. Again, starting this, I didn't even realize we had a derby in Mississippi, and then to find out that you guys have been, acknowledged for all the work there. Has the actual derby, the Deborah Washington Memorial Soapbox Derby, been recognized by the whole bigger organization, specifically for the work you're doing?
Yes, we've been recognized as local race city of the year several times in Akron, and that's a really good thing to do. We're proud to get that, because we could be recognized for other things too. We do have national people come down, and they'll watch to make sure that we don't do anything wrong. We've been, if I'm not mistaken, we had one girl that won second place in Akron, which is a huge, huge undertaking with the numbers of cars up there and the numbers of people up there. But Miranda won second place in the super stock division, and if I'm not mistaken, I think she also won a place in the Masters division. I'm not quite sure on that.
What do you win if you win the big one in Ohio, in Akron?
Bragging rights, but you get the colored sweatshirt and the lots of different things. And the sponsors, they give so much. They give trophies. We give trophies here up to seventh place, and medallions to everybody else. And so they get the big trophy there. And I'm not certain. It just depends on the sponsor for the year. It's different each year.
If I remember correctly, in Little Rascals, they got a really big trophy, and then there was a kiss at the end for the winner.
I don't remember there being a kiss.
Darla gave a little kiss on the cheek for.
Oh, Darla did, yeah, but I don't think there's one here.
No.
If you get a chance, I would suggest to anybody to go online to look up All American Soapbox Derby and look at the track. Look at the track, and they've had to take the starting line down the hill several times because of the amount of speed that you started getting on those hills. So if I would look at those pictures, and it's amazing. It really is amazing. It's a great event where kids come together, families come together, and we have a great time. And I'm so thankful that I'm still part of it. We've lost two of our volunteer dads that used to work with us, and we honor them each year with plaques and memorials on the ramps, and we have special trophies for children for categories to honor those two gentlemen as well.
Well, you definitely have created a family feel there, even by changing the name to honor the lady who started it, which was Miss Deborah Washington, and her family, who continues to support the Soapbox Derby. I feel like if you're around and you've never supported it, I feel like it's something that would be cool to get out and go and see. So you'll have to keep us updated, Susan, on the winners of this year. And I know we're speaking of it now, even though it's in April, because there's still opportunities for families to get their kids involved. And you mentioned the best place for them to go, Susan, is just the Facebook page, correct?
It is, and Renee or I will respond to any questions or comments that are there, and we'll get people hooked up if need be.
All righty. Well, I appreciate your time here on Good Things.
Right. Thank you so much. Y'all have a great day.
I love it. I love this. I feel like there has to be a Darla at the end, right, of every derby. Just a little kiss, say, "Oh, congratulations." I think it's sweet. I think I think a derby would have been a lot of fun. I don't know if I would want to put the car together and then trust myself going down a hill in it, but I definitely think it would have been a lot of fun as a kid to get to ride that and experience it. But we'd love for you to stick with us. We've got more good things for you coming up next.